The Miami Heat have been the best team in the Eastern Conference all season, but things are not always as they seem. And the recent blowout between Jimmy Butler, head coach Erik Spoelstra, and Udonis Haslem during a timeout shows that tensions are high as the team is going through a losing streak. But with the playoffs starting in just a few weeks, there's something going on with this Miami Heat team that could be the reason why they might have an epic collapse in the playoffs. And Udonis Haslem may have identified the problem way before everyone else did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and help the channel grow. You'd be doing me a real solid. And let's dive into another episode of... Now, right off the bat, I want to mention that my prediction for who will come out of the Eastern Conference and make the finals is the Miami Heat. I just think from start to finish, they have been the best team and the most complete team in the Eastern Conference. They had multiple injuries to multiple key players in the rotation. Jimmy Butler missed 23 games. Tyler Herro missed 15 games. Bam missed 25 games. Kyle Lowry missed 17 games. These are the 4 best players and 3 highest usage players on the team. With all the shuffling of lineups throughout the year, the Heat have beat almost all of the best teams this season. They have been in the top 3 in the conference all year. They have awesome depth and have the best scoring bench in the league. This is mainly because Tyler Herro comes off the bench, but he has the highest usage on the team and plays 32.6 minutes a game. He might as well just be a starter at that point. But I see what the Heat are trying to do by getting Tyler Herro to rack up 6-Man of the Year awards despite not having a 6-man's role on the team. But I'll give credit where credit is due though. Tyler Herro is my pick for 6-Man of the Year. He's really helped this Miami Heat team space the floor and score. But I have so many questions about whether this Miami Heat team is real or not. And everything is pointing me to Jimmy Butler. So if we're talking about the Miami Heat before All-Star break, they were the #1 seed in the East. Jimmy Butler averaged almost 22 points, almost 7 rebounds, and 6 assists a game on 47% field goal shooting and 19% from 3. It's getting hilarious how bad of a 3-point shooter Jimmy actually is, but his aggressiveness to get to the rim, or at least attack the paint, was much higher than. He was shooting 50% on 9.1 attempts a game within 10 feet of the rim. After All-Star break, he shoots 46% within 10 feet on 8.6 attempts. Overall, prior to All-Star break, he was taking 15 field goal attempts a game, while only shooting 13.6 field goal attempts after All-Star break. This lack of aggressiveness has also affected his playmaking because he now averages 2 fewer assists per game than pre-All-Star break. Jimmy is supposed to be the franchise player at the moment, the best player on this team. But after All-Star break, the last couple of months of the season is where championship caliber teams really fine-tune things. In the same time period, Jimmy Butler is only averaging 19 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, and 4 assists a game. This has definitely affected the team's overall offense as well. Jimmy is supposed to be the offensive engine. He's the 6'7" wing that can score and playmake and defend. That's why the Heat paid him. But his lack of aggressiveness on offense dropped the Heat's 8th ranked offense to 18th after the break. Another key factor is the fact that Jimmy can't shoot threes at all. For the season, he's shooting 20% from 3. 20%! And it's not like he's having a bad shooting season because he's shooting 23% since signing with Miami in 2019. He attempts under 2 threes a game. Essentially, teams are guarding him like he's a non-threat from 3. Seems like a coincidence that Jimmy hated on Ben Simmons, yet he might actually be Ben Simmons with unearned confidence. What's even worse for the Miami Heat is that Jimmy's inability to space the floor will play right into the opponent's defense hands when they're guarding Bam. Bam is also a similar non-threat from 3. He literally attempts 0 threes a game and he's attempted a total of 5 threes all season. Imagine your 2 franchise players averaging a combined 18% from 3 since playing together. And to be honest, I don't actually care that Bam is a non-shooter. He's the center for this team. He's the defensive anchor for this team. He can guard big men, he can guard point guards, he can guard the freak athletes like LeBron and Giannis. In 2022, teams cannot be putting out lineups with more than 1 non-shooting threats on the floor. Defenses are just too complex and advanced now. They can key in and send help from non-shooters to shut down the paint and force teams to win by shooting. And that's where I think the Heat can get the reverse card thrown at them. All season, the Heat have been the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Credit to them for having 2 high-usage players that are essentially non-3-point shooters and still having the efficiency from the other players. Tyler Herro and Kyle Lowry shooting 38% on 6.7 threes a game and 36% from 3 on 6.13 attempts a game really helps. But what happens when the shooting goes cold or teams start running them off the 3-point line and guarding them at the perimeter? That can easily be done if defenders are just ignoring Jimmy Butler and Bam at the 3-point line. And all we be seeing is ugly 2-point basketball with the 2 best players on this team operating with no space. So, how can Jimmy not be the reason why the Heat get neutralized by defensive schemes? I'll bet you're thinking that Jimmy Butler just has to improve his three-point shot, but I'd actually disagree with that. He's a career 32.1 three-point shooter. He's only shooting 23.2% over the last 3 seasons. What's even more relevant is that this season, there are only 12 games that Jimmy Butler has shot 33% or better from 3. And the Heat went 6-6 in those games. So it's not like whether he's hitting his threes or not is making a massive shift in winning games. I'd actually say that getting back into being super aggressive and penetrating the defense is what he has to do. Pause. His lack of burst and shifting of the defenses is what has held him back from letting his playmaking take over the game. And that's exactly why the Heat dropped from 3rd to 13th in assist percentage since All-Star break. And the playmaking and interior and mid-range scoring, that's something I know he can do. I have evidence of this. I don't think asking Butler to start spacing the floor more when he's never really been a reliable three-point shooter is smart. But at least the playmaking and attacking the rim, that's on tape. He did it in the finals. He had a 40-point triple-double because that was in his game when he goes all out. We all watched the bubble. But that's where the root of the problem lies. The bubble. I think that Jimmy showed us what peak Jimmy Butler can play like. The problem is that has not been shown in the playoffs before that or after. What was so unique about that bubble then? Oh, that's right. The 2020 Lakers and the Heat were the only finals participants this century to get a 3-month rest for their older veteran players. They were the only ones that didn't have attrition and the physical toll of a regular season before a full playoff run. There are so many legendary teams that lose in the playoffs because of injuries, fatigue, which is just part of the game. The Spurs used to rest players to combat that. It's a part of the game and even the playing field. What concerns me is that a lot of the fall of Jimmy Butler has been physically. This was clearly seen at the All-Star game. Jimmy only played 9 minutes in the All-Star game. He didn't exert much effort in those minutes either. It seemed like he was just happy to add another All-Star appearance on his resume. And I'm willing to guess that he might have some sort of injury he's playing through, but overall, his body is wearing down over the course of the regular season. So my concern level is on medium right now. I would want to see how the Heat and Jimmy Butler play to finish out the regular season, but the Heat will have one of the hardest first-round playoff matchups if they stay in the top 2 seeds, which they most likely will. They might play the Brooklyn Nets, who will have KD and Kyrie, and that's just a nightmare first-round matchup. Otherwise, they might play the Cavs, against who they're 1-2. Or they might play the Raptors, who they are also 1-2 against. So Jimmy might be the next Chris Paul type of player, where they are really good, high IQ, tough, leadership type of veterans, who teams rely on heavily, but their bodies were just not built to withstand a long regular season followed by a deep playoff run without getting broken down. With him fighting with his own coach and getting threatened by Udonis Haslem, the Miami Heat are looking shakier than they have in years, right before the playoffs start. And that's what I'm hoping is not happening. I really believe in the rest of this team and the other players because they have really stepped up this season. But after all the noise that Jimmy Butler has created over the last 2 years, 2 straight playoff eliminations, one where they were the best team in the East, is reason enough for me to point the spotlight at Jimmy and ask the question, is Jimmy Butler actually good, or is he actually the problem? Thanks so much for watching. What do you think Jimmy Butler can do to bring this team's mojo back for the playoffs? And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to help the channel grow, and I'll catch you next time.